Well, hello everybody, Nick McGinnis here. Today we're on the woodlot having a look at a section of ground where we're going to do some forest harvesting and a little bit of timber stand improvement. So the first priority of this project is to increase the availability of browse for white-tailed deer. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to cut some hardwood trees here that aren't suitable either now or down the road for potential saw logs. We're going to be cutting some of the more low value ones, cutting it as hardwood, and we'll just use that for our own firewood. There's some hemlock in here which we may harvest. There's a local guy with a sawmill that's looking to buy a load of hemlock. And we're also going to have a look at some of the older hemlock that are on the stand. It makes me wonder what to do with them. A lot of them have splits down the middle. I'm not sure if it's from lightning strikes or hemlock can get something caused by the wind. I think it's called shakes. And it does something to the wood, distorts the togetherness, I guess, of the wood fibers. And they can be quite dangerous to cut, I guess. And when you mill them, you start getting these lifts up in the board, so they don't really make great boards, especially for siding or a deck or anything that someone might be using hemlock for. So the trees are still alive, but they got these significant splits in the middle of them. So no use likely ever for saw log potential. I should say that these trees maybe are the ones that produce cavity trees, so I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to do some research on that. But as it stands in the present time, we have a lot of these trees and they're taking up a lot of the canopy. So we'll have a look here at what I mean right now. All right, so lots of hemlocks here, and these are fairly good sized trees. I'm not sure how old they would be. We will cut a couple of them shortly and we'll find out. But as you can see, there's that fissure right down the middle of this thing. And it goes all the way up. So I've heard of shake being an issue with hemlock in the past, and I'm wondering if this is what shake might look like as part of the tree. But a really big tree, some thick branches on it. Probably not a whole lot of utility for saw logs. But if you look at the canopy, it is quite large. So we have to figure out what to do with these. And, probably leave most of them is the answer. But you can just see another one here. Provide a lot of habitat. And one of the things that is often not recognized as often as it should be in forest ecology is the ecology is three-dimensional. It's not just the surface area. When you have these really tall trees, especially in multi-age stands, you have all sorts of different habitats for birds and insects. Creates microclimates up there. So there is a real advantage in terms of diversity and overall ecology to keeping trees, don't get me wrong, but they do come at a cost, I guess I should say, and that they limit rejuvenation and sunlight hitting the forest floor. So we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to thin out the hardwoods that have no saw log potential, and we're going to use that for firewood. We're going to try and thin out the high ground here. We're kind of going down a ridge towards not a swampy area, but a swale. And we want to stay out of that, I think. Might take the odd tree out of there, but you're never going to get a machine in there. You wouldn't want livestock in there. Keeping it shaded and protected is going to maintain a little bit of surface water there during the summer. So it'll serve as a wildlife drinking spot. And yeah. That's what we're up to. Thinning this out, get some sunlight to the forest floor, getting our year's firewood. And what is the last thing? Oh yeah. And of course, all of this is to contribute towards improving wildlife habitat, creating more browse for deer. And we're trying to build a little bit of a corridor here. About 300 meters through the woods, there's some patches of fairly new forest, just areas where big trees came down and created openings, and the neighbor was cutting some firewood, and the deer are in there, but they're not spending a whole lot of time in this older growth, dark and shaded area of the properties up here. So we're going to try and connect that one pocket of pioneer species with this ridge line, and this will come right up at the top of a field where we have some pasture, and we are going to put a food plot this year. So we're trying to create a bedding area, a browsing area for deer, a couple hundred meters from the edge of that field where the food plot is. It's sheltered. The deer can sit up on the ridge here so they can bed down, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable bedding down once we get the stem density up here. So this is what it looks like now. We're going to clear this over the next few months. It's an ambitious winter project for us. We have a lot going on. We're going to likely start this process with a spacing saw, cut some of the smaller stuff out, make a little room, and then start felling trees with the chainsaw. So I hope you liked the video, and follow along for more as we develop this project.